Marty has been exploring all sorts of different exhibits during this museum week.
Yeah, and this morning he's at a Baltimore museum that highlights our state's innovation and progress. Marty.
And there's so much we could talk about. We had to narrow it down to one thing, so we chose Ottmar Mergenthaler's linotype machine. Because any newspaper, up until about 50 years ago, any newspaper in the world would have been put together by that machine, which is 1 ton of fun. Steve Cole, volunteer at the Baltimore Museum of Industry. I'm just going to let you take it over, and I'm going to get out of the way. You and K2 do your thing.
All right. Quickly, how it works. This is what it makes. It makes individual lines of type like this, casts it out of liquid metal, poured into molds. The liquid metal is right back in this area right here. See that stuff in there? That's 500-degree liquid metal, hot. So you don't want to put your hand in there. So there's the liquid metal. Let me come over here and show you where the molds are. The molds are all held up in this container. They've got little molds for every letter. Every letter. There's many of them in there. So what you do is you hit the keyboard. One of the molds falls down into this row, and when you get the whole row of molds the way you want, the machine moves it over to here, where a little bit of that liquid metal is squirted into it to make this bar. The bar falls out here. You type a whole story. It fills up line after line after line, and that's how you make the stories. This is what this machine does. It makes lines of type, a whole story.
I am blown away. Just imagine the app for the News American, the Baltimore Sun. Imagine, the Sunday edition.
Yeah.
How, my gosh.
Every word. Every word.
Every letter.
Every letter and every word had to start as metal bars before it was printed.
And this sounds so primitive. But in 15 seconds, what's the difference between this and Gutenberg's press?
Gutenberg cast individual letters of type that had to be arranged by hand. This got the type ready 6 times faster than putting individual letters together by hand.
And at one point, I'm just using the Baltimore Sun for example, would have had how many linotype operators working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
They had 70 machines. And multiply that by every daily newspaper in the world. There were a lot of those machines and a lot of jobs out there doing this.
Shout out Ottmar Mergenthaler. Listen, coming up next half hour, he just told me some trivia, which we're going to tell you. We can wait till the next half hour. It's words you use every day in our computer-driven society that have their genesis actually back in Gutenberg.
That's right.
We'll explain it all. You got to stay tuned. Back to TV Hill.
All right.
Interesting.
Mind blown. You did it this time, Marty. That was fascinating.
Yeah.